Have you ever thought, that's it, I'm never going to get healthy? I've tried everything. I have done everything and nothing's working for me. If you have ever thought that, let's talk. It might be your hydrochloric acid levels. Now, my name's Kristen. There is not a DR doctor in front of my name. There never will be in front of my name. This live is to create a conversation around something for you to ask yourself better questions. I'm not saying this is appropriate for you to do. I'm telling you one of the steps that I needed to take that made an incredible difference when my health crashed 20 some years ago, 20 plus some years ago. And that is I was low in hydrochloric acid. How do you know if you're low in hydrochloric acid? You have acid reflux, you have gas. When you do have gas, it can be really smelly. You bloat after you eat. You don't digest your food well. You're tired after a meal. You have allergies. Those can all be signs of low hydrochloric acid. Now, the following protocol is not for everyone. Because if you have stomach ulcers and you take or follow through on this protocol, it will make them worse. Okay. So always run anything that you're going to do by your own board of directors. I have to tell you though, if you have ever had the thought, I've tried everything, nothing works, and if you can't get to cell saturation, if you cannot move your magnesium numbers, it's it could be because you're low in hydrochloric acid. And just by simply increasing your hydrochloric acid might be the solution for you to uptake more magnesium in your body, which will activate your stored vitamin D, turn it into active vitamin D, and you have then opened the first gateway of health. And if you don't have enough hydrochloric acid, you're not doing that. Now, how do you increase hydrochloric acid? There's a lot of different ways to do that. Number one is to be before you eat. Sit down, take a deep breath, chew your food slowly, and eat. We have a tendency to walk and eat and go fast and not give our body optimal space and create that optimal space for healing. It is why I say creative women create health more easily because you have to create that space and that little spot of time to sit down and eat, have a napkin, chew your food, have a conversation. Do you know digestion increases if you get off your phone? Do you know digestion increases if you take a big deep breath? Did you know? I've got on my lip, sorry about that. Did you know that usually, not always, but usually it's the alpha female at the table, whoever is the female that everyone looks to at being in charge? She is the one that sets the tone for digestion at that table. That's how powerful she is. And if you are in fight or flight, you are not going to have adequate access to hydrochloric acid. Now, taking some deep breaths, chewing your food better might be the solution for you. For some people, that's not going to be enough, but it's where you should start. It's grandma wisdom. And sometimes we jump to supplements and all sorts of other things when we haven't put in the foundational of grandma wisdom. So slow down, eat your healthy food, enjoy it, enjoy the people you're around, enjoy the process of having a meal. Chew your food more. That's the grandma wisdom around hydrochloric acid. Now, if you've had that pattern for a long time, you might need to add more than grandma wisdom, but we always start with grandma wisdom, always. The next thing that you might need, but not if you have stomach ulcers, you might need to increase your hydrochloric acid because that breaks down the food for your body to pull the nutrients from it. So important. It also helps your body pull the magnesium. You can change your magnesium status, ensuring you soak less often if you have adequate hydrochloric acid in your gut. Living the good life naturally was not created for you to have to use magnesium soak every single day for the rest of your life. It is not my goal. It is not my dream. The thing that drives me in this company is to help you become the best version of you, to wake up in the morning with energy so that you do the things that need to be done. And then you still have enough energy that you're creating something spectacular in your corner of the world. Because when women create, they lift the people around them. It's what we do. Do you have enough energy? Have you opened the first gateway of health, which is enough magnesium to activate your stored vitamin D and turn it into active vitamin D? That's the first gateway of health. But if you don't have enough hydrochloric acid, if you've got acid reflux or your stomach bloats up when you eat, or you get really gassy after you eat, or you've got this little growl that happens in your throat, those can all be signs of low hydrochloric acid. You might want to think of adding some Bragg's apple cider vinegar. The acetic acid can help make a difference. For some, that's still not enough. If you do that, make sure you brush your teeth, wipe your teeth down, because it can break down your enamel doing that a lot. Another layer that you can add is betaine with pepsin. Why would we take it with pepsin? Simple. When you take it with pepsin, the pepsin protects the lining of your stomach. Now, I keep saying that word now. That's not cool. I think we need like a button for how many times I say it, and I have to pay somebody $1. So it will stop me from saying it, because it's kind of like that's the word I use to gather my thoughts to get to the next thing. Oh, we got some comments. Let me grab those. Oops, sorry. That's not the comment I wanted. Alpha female sets the tone. It does. The alpha female sets the tone for digestion. If she comes to the table stressed out, she's stressing out everybody. That's how powerful she is. With power comes great responsibility. What Spider-Man movie was that? With great power comes great responsibility. And the alpha female at the table sets the tone for everyone's digestion. And it seems like we've forgotten that, but we do. We set that tone. So are you stressing out the people and setting the tone to be poor digestion? Or are you giving them an opportunity and creating a space for them to pull all the minerals and the nutrients that they need from their food? Yes, grandma wisdom all the way. Oh, haven't even noticed. Let's start noticing. So betaine with pepsin can be a route for some of you. I'm not saying do it. I'm saying let's start asking questions, go to your board of directors and determine if this is a good fit for you. Betaine can increase your hydrochloric acid in a huge kind of way. It's a supplement that you buy over the counter. The type of betaine that I use, I'm not sold on one brand. I do look for the least amount of added ingredients, and it absolutely must have pepsin in it. Now, let's say that there's two women side by side, and they both would benefit from hydrochloric acid. Oh, hair's falling out, hair loss issues. Hydrochloric acid could be one of the players in that. It's so important. If you've ever said, nothing works for me, I'm never going to get healthy, I've done everything, nothing works, you could have a hydrochloric acid issue. And so you don't just take one pill and call it done. I want you to think of the betaine with pepsin. Think of it like a girlfriend. When you have a girlfriend, a new girlfriend, it's this new person in your life and you don't know them. And so you're getting to know them and you're really excited to get to know them and you want to build a relationship with this person. Well, that takes some investment of thinking about them, getting to know what they like, knowing what restaurant they like to eat at, knowing what their favorite color is, finding out when their birthday is, so that you can reciprocate and be a good friend. You're building that relationship. My mom's in her mid 80s, and there is a group of women there. I think there was like 26 to start out with. They went to kindergarten together, and they have all been in this group of women. And she's starting to experience a lot of loss. And she turned to me and she said, I don't have the time left in my life to build a relationship like I have with those women. They've gone to high school, they've married, they've done proms, they've cried over their hair, they've had babies together, they've divorced, they've lost people, the ups and downs of life. They've been there for each other, they've supported each other. That's a long time. That's a long relationship. That's a huge investment. Okay. So now I want you to take those same principles and I want you to look at hydrochloric acid. You have to invest. If you know that your hydrochloric acid is low, if you, after you use the bathroom, you can see food in your stools, that's another sign of low hydrochloric acid. And if you're losing foods like, oh, I can't eat this, or I have this, or you have allergies, that can be a sign of low hydrochloric acid. So it's one of those foundational things. And it will make it that you don't have to soak as often. And it will get you feeling better faster if it's an appropriate layer for you to add. So go to your board of directors and find out. Now, when you start taking it, here's the biggest mistakes that I see people making. Number one, they think they're just going to pop a pill and rebuild their hydrochloric acid. Nope. It's such an important layer that it will take time, attention, and energy to find out how much you need. And it's about a 6 to 7 to 8 weeks of focusing on what it's doing for your body and tweaking it to make it work at optimal levels. So, for example, one person might need one, her sister might need 7. How do you find out what your dose is? Because if you're someone who needs 7 and you just take 2, you're never going to experience the benefits ever. So here is a simple way that you can find out. Again, Facebook, can you hear me? I'm not making medical claims. I'm wanting people to ask better questions about their hydrochloric acid and the status of their gut. So what we do is we take one about 20 minutes before a meal, if it's appropriate for you, because it's not for everyone. And then we eat our meal. And then after our meal, we're just noticing in our stomach, is there tightness? Is there burning? Is there an over feeling of fullness? Like, oh my gosh, I feel so full. If there is, we don't want to go any further. Now, in over 20 years of thousands of women, I've never seen anyone have that at 1. So if nothing happens, then the next meal you take 2. Same thing, 20 minutes before the meal, you eat your meal. After your meal, you're just mindful of what's happening in your body. Is there burning? Is there tightness? Do I feel uncomfortably full with a regular amount of food I've always eaten? And if your answer is no, then you go to 3 on the next meal. Do you see the pattern here? You continue doing that until you're like, oh, right here feels really tight, or ooh, it's kind of hot. When you feel that, you immediately neutralize that. That's too much acid. And we don't want that. That does damage, just like not enough does. And to neutralize that, you get the great neutralizer, baking soda. Put about half a teaspoon in about half a cup of water, and you drink that, and it will take the burn away. Let's say the burn happened at 4. Then your dosage is 3. You want to push right up to the burn, but not go to the burn. And so that takes a while to figure out. That's not knowledge that a back of a bottle can tell you, or social media can tell you, or your sister can tell you, or your girlfriend. Like nobody can tell you that. You have to discover that for yourself. So then is what you're going to do is you've got your dosage and you're like, "Oh my goodness, I take however many pills it is." And you take that at the meal. Then the next thing that you need to do is you need to play with, when's it best for you to take it? 20 minutes before the meal, during the meal, or right after the meal? And that will vary for people. So there's a layered nuance to taking the supplement and maximizing it for you. And it's so important with betaine that you do that. And always betaine with pepsin, and never if you have stomach ulcers, and always run anything new by your doctor. And then recognize that your meal, the protein intake, is going to somewhat determine how much you need. So we have a tradition on the 4th of July that my husband barbecues. And we tend to eat a little bit more protein than we typically would, because he has this one special barbecue that takes, oh, sorry, got the yawns. One special barbecue that he does, that he only does once a year because it takes like 5 days to prepare it. And we eat a little bit more than we typically do. That meal, let's say your regular dosage was 3, that meal you may need 4. And so after you figured out your dosage, then you need to start looking and saying, okay, how much do I need with this meal? And seriously, I became in awe of my body, because I'm like, my body's just been doing this for me until I got so stressed out and messed it up. And so, hand doing it, you realize how much work it is of something that your body just managed intuitively. If you don't have a gallbladder, here's a pattern that I've noticed. I'm into patterns. If you don't have a gallbladder, when you eat eggs, a lot of people with no gallbladder will say, "Oh my gosh, that flares my gallbladder. It's like I'm having a gallbladder attack, even though I don't have a gallbladder." And try increasing your betaine with pepsin by 1 when you eat the eggs, and see if you still get the same side effects with the eggs. Now, eggs don't affect everyone with no gallbladder, but for some people, a lot of people, they do. And so you might need a little bit more. Animal protein. If you're doing a little bit more of animal protein, that might be another time that you need to increase it by just a little bit. And so, but usually it's just by 1 pill. And so after you've determined what your dosage is, then you need, for about 3 weeks, just start looking at your meals and looking at the protein. For some people, I've seen them dairy, if they're doing a lot of more dairy than they would typically do. Like maybe they did cheesecake. They need to have 1 extra on cheesecake than they would at other times. And then they're like, oh, the dairy didn't bother me because you had enough hydrochloric acid. Okay. Oh, you just had surgery. Allison, Allison, can we talk? I'm not a doctor, not pretending to be one, never played one on TV and never will be one. But please, please, please look into this. I don't know why they don't tell you this. Your gallbladder breaks down fat. And so many, oh, maybe I shouldn't say this. So many people who have their gallbladder out continue to have gallbladder issues. Look into it. Ox bile, your body, your gallbladder releases ox bile. And that's what breaks down fats. And so once someone's had their gallbladder out, then they start to become deficient in the fat soluble vitamins like vitamin D, vitamin A, and that opens up a pathway for parasites in your body. And so they've taken a part of your body out that produced bile. you've got to give your body the bile, ox bile. And if you'll go back, I don't know if you just jumped on. Oh, Allison, thank you. Thank you. Um, Ox bile is, you have to build a relationship with ox bile just like you do with betaine with pepsin. It's not just, oh, take one ox bile a day and I'm done. You have to really build that relationship and figure out how much ox bile your body needs. Maybe it needs 2 at breakfast and maybe it needs 4 at dinner. Every time you eat, your gallbladder broke down the nutrients with ox bile. It scrubbed it and helped to keep that area clean. And so please, please, please look into supplementing with ox bile. And is what I've seen with clients when they do this is, in the beginning, you need to get the smallest dosage of ox bile that you can, because that way you'll adjust. And so if you can find the 50 milligram, grab them. Usually it's 100 milligrams. Don't start out with the 500 milligrams because it might be too much for you. And if you get the 100 milligrams in the beginning, yeah, you'll be taking more pills, but you'll be able to adjust how much you're taking. And you might end up at that 500 milligram. And then you can switch over to the 500 milligram pill and take it. But Allison, think of all the different places that you eat. Maybe you're like me and you sit at a desk. You might need ox bile at your desk. You definitely need a container of ox bile in your purse. You need ox bile in your car. You need ox bile in your kitchen. Going on vacation, you need ox bile in your traveling pack. Once that gallbladder needs to come out, we are committed to taking ox bile every time food goes in our mouth for the rest of our lives. Or the ducts that you've still got, they thicken up. Your body is still producing ox bile or bile, not ox bile, but bile. It's still producing it. Ox bile becomes so important so that you can break down those fat soluble foods and uptake them. So please, please, please look into ox bile. Please look into it and recognize it's not just, oh, take one ox bile, I'm done. You really have to build that relationship because ox or bile is incredibly nuanced in your body. And so you'll get it down and you'll figure it out and you'll know, oh, if I eat eggs, I need more ox bile. I bet 80, 90% of people with a gallbladder, eggs are an issue. And so they need to increase their ox bile. It's so important to give your body that ability to break down fats, because then you take the gallbladder out and the ability to really give you that boost of bile, then it affects your liver. We don't want it to affect your liver. And it doesn't have to. Please, no doom and gloom for having the gallbladder out. Just recognize how important it is and the role it plays in your body so that you can step in and say, hey, it was time for me to take the gallbladder out. It had to go, but I know that I still need to support my body with an increase of bile at every meal. And so, yes, that is why I have ox bile at every station that I'm ever at, so that I can make sure that my body is getting the nutrients that it needs. So, oh, um, here's the thing that I've found. The nurses that have been around 30 years, 40 years, they'll talk to you about it. If you get one of those nurses that just has been around for a very, very, very long time, they know. It's not a standard conversation that happens, and that is heartbreaking to me because it should be a standard conversation that happens. And there are nuances to it, Allison, and it's not something that you're just going to take one in the morning and be done. You've got to, I don't know if you were on earlier, I talked about my mom and the sweet relationship she has with all these women from 5 years, and now she's 86. That's a long time to build a deep relationship. You need to build a deep relationship with ox bile. You need to listen to the nuances. You might even need to grab a journal. I went to look for my journal. It's not here. I had it in the car with me today. I use Moleskin. Shout out to Moleskin. They have the best journals. They're super stackable. If you use a marker, it doesn't go through. So if I want to draw some things on there, I can. Has a little pocket in the back that I keep my little tabs so I can write tabs in the journal. I love Moleskin journals. But whatever you write on, and maybe even take some notes to how you're feeling because you're going to need to build. Think of that bottle of ox bile as a human and you're building that relationship. You're finding out birthdays and favorite colors and what they love and maybe even their favorite purse brand or what's their dream vacation. It's how you build a relationship with a human. With ox bile, you're going to build that relationship by noticing what it does to your body after different types of meals. So, for example, I made my husband quiche yesterday. He loves my quiche. And I made him quiche. He had it last night for dinner and he had it this morning for breakfast cold. Now, quiche has a lot of eggs. And if you don't have bile, because eggs are so nutrient dense, you cannot break down the nutrients in those eggs, and it might now start flaring a gallbladder attack. It'll sometimes feel similar. So if he's eating that, now he has his gallbladder, but let's just say he didn't, he might need to increase his bile because of the higher fat in the quiche and because of the higher dense nutrients in the eggs. And so you've got to start noticing those nuances and learning what you need. So I'm so glad you hang out with me, Allison. I appreciate it. And Joya, it was so nice to have you here. I loved it. Thank you for your comments and your insights. And I am going to be hopping on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube because that's where I'm streaming at all at the same time right now at 4 o'clock Monday through Friday. Now, imperfect action is my goal. I don't do things perfectly. There might be days it's too much, too busy, too crazy. I just can't pull off everything that this company called Living the Good Life Naturally needs. And I can't get on that day. But 4 o'clock Pacific time. So I'm Pacific time. Oh, you're so kind, Allison. 4 o'clock Pacific time. And we'll just get on and talk and we'll just kind of go where it needs to go. That's my favorite way to do it. Like I'll start out with a topic, but then Allison got on and like, oh, let's switch to what Allison needs. It's so important to me that they're helpful to you. If I'm going to take the time away from my family to get on and share the things that I've learned that have made a difference in my life and thousands of other women, I want to make sure it's worthwhile. Like if I'm saying no to them, I want it to be worth people's time. And so I so appreciate the interaction because Allison, your comment helped me know where to go. And maybe in the replay, somebody else will watch it and need that information about gallbladder also. So 4 o'clock Pacific time, Monday through Friday, when I can pull it off. And I'm allowing myself imperfect action. It won't be every single day. There will be some days that I need to miss. Maybe I just need to take a mental health day that day and not be online. And so it will be imperfectly, but that's the time, 4 o'clock Pacific. And so I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Oops. End broadcast.